With the first pick.
Alrighty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock. On the Clock's presented by our friends at Titan Bat Company. If you're looking for the highest quality handcrafted wood bats in the game, Titan Bats has you covered with premium maple, ash, and birch game bats in 10 different models and colors to fit your swinging style. As you're gearing up for the spring season, Titan Bats is the perfect option for your next wood bat. In addition to game bats ranging from youth baseball to softball to men's baseball, Titan Bats also offers award bats that make the perfect gift to celebrate a teammate, coach, or baseball fan in your life. Check them out at titanbats.com and use the code JB15 for 15% off your order. It's Saturday, July 19th. This is the post MLB Draft edition On the Clock. We are be sure to just messing up there completely. Be sure to like, subscribe wherever you need to, whatever platform you listen on. Make sure you're getting the latest episodes from us. I'm Jared. That's Tyler. We're off the rails at 9:30 at night when we're recording this on Sunday. So, Tyler, how's it going?
Thumbs up. Great. It's only for reference, I'm back home. First day of 18U trials today at USA.
Tyler doesn't
95 heat index. Yes. But 95 heat index of 114 today.
Oof. Not fun.
UNC invest in freaking shade.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
Time.
Yeah.
That's not fun for anybody.
No. And I know tomorrow, or I guess whenever this gets out, Saturday, we're like moving the games up because we're trying to avoid the heat, which morning humidity in North Carolina is not the greatest thing in the world. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But as long as the heat index is not 114 by 10 a.m., I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you got your choices of playing a game at like 7 a.m. or 9 p.m. to beat the heat.
there's no in between. There is no in between.
That's how it was in Arizona when I did the Arizona Complex League. It's like they played 10 a.m. games. I'm like, it's basically prime heat time at that point. So I don't know. It's crazy.
I know there's a difference between dry heat and the mugginess that we call it the Southeast here.
Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah. Either which way, I don't envy either one of us in that situation. So
yeah. Speaking of hot, we're going to grade some American League draft classes here. We're going to go through each conference. Tyler and I are going to give you like the best favorite pick, favorite day 2 picks, and then Tyler's going to grade each team. But first, we want to go with the favorite draft in the American League. So don't go into too much detail because we'll get to that when we go through the grades. But who was your favorite draft in the American League?
Favorite draft was actually the Cleveland Guardians. They had a very interesting draft. I knew I was going to get that from you. But again, remember a year ago when they were pulling off like Chase Mobley in the 10th round that we all thought was never going to happen. Then they signed him. They kind of pulled the same tricks here, which I enjoy. Like getting Jace Laviolette at 27 is insane value, even if there's question marks about the hit tool. Does he project as a center fielder? Is he a right fielder? Just depending on the size. But all in all, it's like 70 power from the left side with an insane athlete for a guy that's 6'6", 240. You take it. You really do. And they got some other pretty valuable pieces as well. Kind of looking down, like Aaron Walton was one of my favorite guys late in the process. Will Hines from Canada was another guy that really popped for me kind of late in the cycle. And, even going farther down, like you look at a couple guys that might end up being like, they're soft tossing guys that could be in the Major League bullpen in 2 years. Will McCausland, you think about somebody like that. Harrison Bodendorf might add some velo. It could be like a Brian Koenig kind of guy like the Brewers have right now, where he's, a guy that was sitting 90, now hitting 99, 100 from the left side. So Cleveland had a very Cleveland draft, but at the same time, this is a team that can develop pretty well, in my opinion. And they definitely targeted a few guys to where they fit their needs very, very well. Could there be a Cade Smith in this class? I wouldn't be shocked. I really don't. So that's why I'm sticking with them as my favorite American League draft.
Yeah, and I mean, I like this class. They did take some kind of more risk on the hit tool than they normally do, with like Jason, Nolan Schubart, but you had guys like Aaron Walton in there, Dean Curley, Luke Hill, like you kind of talked about, kind of more safer floor type bats that you could kind of project on. And it's like Will Hines is a fun project as a high school prep arm, like a lot of good stuff there. I don't know, it's a fun class, and then they get their lefties that throw in the low 90s, like in Bodendorf and Prager. That those are like the guys that they mold on and build on in the Guardian system. So yeah, it's a fun team. I went with the cityless athletics. I guess Sacramento, Sacktown A's here. You have Jamie Arnold photo in your lap at 11. Like, you have to love that. He was a number one on our board at one point. I know he had kind of some struggles down the stretch to end the college season, but that's an arm that you have to love falling kind of to you at 11. And that's something that the A's I've noticed have been doing lately, like with Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson, just these guys who have a chance to kind of quickly rise through the system. And I think Arnold's potentially another one of those guys. If he figures some things out, he could be a quick riser as well. And then they go Devin Taylor. Like, this is one of the probably the safest floor bats in the entire class. Like, absolutely mashes. Defensively, kind of don't know where he's going to play. Likely he'll stick in a corner outfield spot, but really, really fun bat there. 80 grade personality, just an awesome guy to get. You got Gavin Turley. Again, hit tool concerns there. A lot of power, a lot of tools. Kind of the opposite of Taylor on the offensive side. And then the guy I really love in the top four picks is Zane Taylor. Guy I saw that was up to 97 has just really taken strides. He's a senior, so you're going to be able to sign him for fairly cheap. Just a really fun arm there. And then further down the draft, they got guys like Bobby Boser, Logan Save, just some guys who can kind of do some things for this team. And it's just a fun draft class.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like you mentioned, getting guys like Logan Salve, we had like a fourth, fifth round grade on
Yeah.
coming into the draft. So like they did a pretty good job with nailing on some big value guys late. Alex Bard's gonna be an interesting one. Like he's a very, I would say, very volatile left-handed guy from Indiana, but could be a big league reliever if everything kind of pans out with a pretty nasty fastball curveball combo.
Yeah.
Um, Look at other guys too. Jared Davis of Virginia Tech. I saw him a couple times. Like pretty good all around player. Get him in the 17th. I think there's some value there,
Mm-hmm.
considering the fact that he's kind of, like I said, you kind of do it all outfielder, second baseman, has some speed. There's some pop there. So he's an interesting cat. And then even going, Daniel Buchero from Fordham,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of my guys going into the March, April, because it's a interesting athlete for a
Yeah.
guy that's like, I want to say he was like 6'2", 215, 6'3", 220, something like that. But he moves a lot better than you would expect for a guy of that size. So, they did a pretty darn good job
Yeah.
with getting value at places where you probably weren't expecting to have it there. So, good on the A's for doing a pretty solid job overall with their draft class.
Love it. Now, for you, best draft class. So maybe not your favorite, but who do you think had the best class?
Seattle.
You get Cade
Seattle.
Anderson, man. Like,
Man, just looking at what they were able to do, I understand. Yes, they had. I want to say it was actually the second most bonus pool, or second highest bonus pool in this
mm-hmm.
class, because Baltimore traded for that 37th overall pick and added left something like two and some change to their bonus pool. Um, but like Seattle did a very good job of kind of tailoring to what they usually look for. So like Cade Anderson, you get him at 3, that's a win in its own right. And getting him from 8.8 million, so he comes in with
Yeah.
kind of a bit of a haircut, really helps you. Luke Stevenson's, good in his own right. Like, I understand there's probably not going to be much in terms of like hit tool at the next level, but he's your stereotypical catcher with above average pop, can stick behind home plate. I really like Nicky Becker.
Yeah. This is the guy
Um,
Recca was on for a while.
yeah. So for what it's worth, you kind of look back at some previous draft classes. Baltimore got Gunnar Henderson in this range, and I'm not saying Nicky Becker can or is you know Henderson long term, but it's a very eerie. like similarity with the range that they were drafted, um, and kind of the tools as well. Like I
Mm-hmm.
understand Becker's right, but this is a guy that has a lot of twitch, lots of bat speed, can stick up the middle. He's an interesting cat. So, like, there be a Gunnar Henderson situation where he turns into one of the best prospects in all of baseball in the next couple of years? I wouldn't rule it out, especially with the way that Seattle does kind of develop middle infielders a little bit. However, this is me trying to obviously hype up a guy. But I like the value overall with Becker. If they get him to sign, I think that's a very good get for them. Getting Corbin Dickerson in the fifth is pretty darn good. This is a guy that, understandably, not much of a track record, but just absolutely mashed next to Devin Taylor this year in that outfield. Um, and there's like a plethora of arms that they got that really fit their needs. Griffin Hughes was highly valued on their board. Mason Peters might end up starting. Lucas Kelly's probably Paul Sewald 2.0, which is fantastic for them. Colton Shaw, Danny Macarola, Jackson Steensma is actually one of my favorite local guys because he
Mm-hmm.
didn't pitch this year because of TJ, but it's one of the best fastballs on the East Coast. So that's kind of where I'm at with this class. Like they did a very good job of tailoring to what they look for, in keeping consistent. Like, and I think some of these guys are admittedly, like, you look at Lucas Kelly. Lucas Kelly could be in the big leagues in about a year or so with the kind of stuff that he has. So like, again, this is a very good class for Scott Hunter, and I think they've done a pretty good job with the resources and the money that they have. That I think they're going to be able to get quite a bit out of this class. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I love it. Team I went with, of course, at the highest bonus pool, the Baltimore Orioles. Basically drafted. I can't remember if you said this or someone else said this to me that they drafted a college baseball all-star team basically for the first uh, few picks here. I mean, you got Ike Irish, Kata Bodine, Wahilo Aloy. You get the Golden Spikes winner at 30 for one, which is pretty great. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just your like typical Orioles draft, right? Like ton of bats early. They went and got Joseph DeJurua and JT Quinn, which are two really really solid arms there in the CBA in the second round as well. I mean, they had. I'm looking at it now that 6, 7 picks in the first like top 100. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's insanity. And it's just they had all the money to play with. They get Ike Irish, who I know I mentioned Devin Taylor's probably one of the safest floor bats, but like Ike Irish was probably one of the safest floor bats as well. Just a guy who absolutely mashes again, positionless. They drafted him as a catcher. I think you've talked about how he's going to likely fit in the outfield. He didn't really catch a ton at Auburn, but maybe they'll try him out and see what happens. Caden Bodine, you get like easily like one of the best hit tools in the entire class. Power's a question mark, but defensively one of the best catchers in all of college baseball, or if not the best catcher in all of college baseball. And you get the Golden Spikes winner at 31. We've talked about some of the issues that he's had with whiff rates and things like that, but the power is absolutely insane. He's got the defensive ability to stick at shortstop. Just absolutely mashed the baseball in the SEC. And he gets Slater to run. Like, this is a guy that we kind of mocked to the Diamondbacks because you were like Slade Caldwell 2.0, basically. And hit tool's really, really good. Kind of short in size. He's what, 5'10", probably shorter than that, 187. Um, it's just the kind of guy who's going to stick in center field. I know I've seen like a lot of comparisons to Corbin Carroll. He'll have to really tap into the power for that to happen. But it's just a really, really fun pick there. And I like this class overall.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They did a this might be a draft to look back on in a couple years where
Yeah.
this is potentially a franchise stabilizer for them because like
Mm,
admittedly, you look at the major league roster; it's not been the greatest, but like this could end up being a class that helps them out pretty well in the future. So I'm interested to see how this fully develops for Baltimore.
yeah. I love it. We're going to do conference breakdowns now. We're going to do best favorite pick, day two favorite, and then Tyler's going to give a grade for each one. Might as well start with the Baltimore Orioles since we're already transitioning from that. Tyler, give us your best favorite pick and your day two favorite, and then a grade.
Ooh, so my personal favorite pick. I'm going to stick on day one here just for the hell of it. JT Quinn, pick
Mm,
69. There were guys that were really in on JT Quinn in this range, and I think we had him ranked. Where did I have him ranked? We had him down in like the 190s, and that was just like we put him on the board. He's there, like thumbs up, like pat yourself on the shoulder. We
Yeah.
got we got him on the board at least, but I definitely undervalued the ability to spin, the fact that the fastball gained a lot of value over the past calendar year because he leaves Old Miss. He really just wasn't much of a prospect a year ago of Old Miss because admittedly the fastball is generic, probably the
Mhm.
best way to put it. It's not the greatest. It's just like it's there. The shape's not the best, but it sets up the secondaries very very well. And there's velo. He's already touched 98. He got better command. And the breaking balls are hellacious. And just talking to a few guys even after the draft, they really do value Quinn's ability to spin the baseball, and that's just the way that we have it set up now to where fastball value is only going to go so far with him, but the ability to spin a baseball is very important.
Yeah.
So, for me, looking at what he was able to do this year, that was the big change for me, and the fact that the whole profile just got better overall. Um, definitely a difference in opinion, from a year ago to today. So he's my favorite day one pick overall, even with the glutton of talent that they brought in too. But day two, I'm gonna have to go with Caden Hunter out of USC.
Hmm.
Caden Hunter, we had him like slightly higher than JT Quinn on the board,
Yeah.
admittedly. Think I had him probably closer to like 170. I think. Actually, yeah, 169. So
Hmm.
he actually got taken a little bit later than what I was expecting. That he gets taken in the sixth round, 184. But the thing with Caden Hunter is he's got one of the best fastballs on the West Coast. Looking at six and a quarter feet of extension, maybe more, with good carry. He gets about 20 inches of on average of carry. With some run mixed in, misses bats a lot in the zone. He really used it a ton. It was like 70% usage.
Wow.
Um, but it's a fastball that misses a ton of bats, and that's something that I value quite a bit. And the extension's there, the metrics are there. It's pretty solid. Uh, I want to see some secondary work kind of worked on, or like secondary changes. So like the changeup itself is fine. He gets six
Yeah.
and a half feet of extension. There's a good separation of carry. So like there's good velocity separation. There's good induced vertical carry separation, which is good. It runs a lot, but the slider needs some work. And the one thing I've learned in the past few months is we're in an age now where teaching guys how to spin the baseball is admittedly a lot easier than what it was 10 years ago.
Hmm.
So I think he's just a little tweak away from being able to unlock something else. And if he has any velocity, I think that's great. So I do like what Caden Hunter brings to the table. And I think getting him admittedly a little bit after what I valued him as is pretty solid. So I'm very excited to see what he can do now in an admittedly better environment for him
Yeah.
because admittedly like the Big Ten wasn't the greatest this year. USC isn't quite the team as what it was in the past because obviously this is a long herald college
Yeah.
team. So getting a new fresh start in a development team that knows what they're doing. As much as the Orioles have not been good on the major league roster this year, they can develop. So we'll see what happens.
What's the grade?
Probably an A.
Hmm.
Probably an A. I think they did a very good job of using their resources well. You get Ike Irish down to 19. You get Caden Bodine. You get
Yeah.
Wahia Aloy, who we thought wasn't going to last that long. And Slater runs like Slade Caldwell 2.0. That's
Yeah.
very good. You're looking at like they had like 13 million tied up in those first four picks alone, and I think they did a very good job of divvying it out. I think as of right now, Irish and Bodine are slot value. So I'm interested to see what Aloy and the Brun get. But overall, like this is a very solid draft class. Like I said, I give it an A.
I keep seeing Orioles fans be like, "Oh, Adley's out of here. They drafted Ike and Kidd," and I'm like, "Whoa, hey, let's relax a little bit here."
Ike's going to be a corner outfielder.
Yeah,
Let's just stop that right now. Bodine I would worry about, but
yeah,
Ike is probably not going to be a catcher this time next year unless something
yeah,
drastic changes.
yeah. I love it. Let's move on to the Boston Red Sox, the team that won 10 straight games going into the All Star break. No one can figure out what this team's doing. Are they going to trade at the deadline? Who knows? Are they going to trade for players or trade away players at the deadline? That's what I meant. But now that I look at this class from top to bottom, I'm like, man, this should have been my favorite class.
They did a very, very good job of targeting like college guys. Again, this is second year in a row where
Yeah.
they really went college heavy. Like last year, they took only one prep, and it was Conrad Kaysen in like the 6th or 7th round. This year, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't take a prep until like the 19th round.
Yeah.
But they still had on a lot of big time college guys and got some pretty good value out of it. So it's a pretty darn good class, personally. So,
Favorite
Jared,
pick.
I want to get your favorite pick first,
Oh,
actually.
I was going Kyson Witherspoon, which is kind of the easy choice, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a guy that I think we all thought was going to go potentially top 10, and he falls to them at 15. I talked about this, I think, on the last podcast or maybe in our one of our streams, but just the fact that it's a 4 pitch mix. He's consistently in the strike zone. Like the command and control improved a ton this spring. When I watched him in the SEC tournament, I remember texting you and being like, dude, he's getting so many swings and miss on this curveball. It was just disgusting to watch. And the fastball was sitting like mid 90s, even late into the game. Like he topped out at 99, I think, in the first and second inning, but then he was just consistently living like 93 to 96 for the rest of the game. And it was just absolutely insane. Cutter's really good. The slider's really good. Like everything just is so good in this pitch arsenal. And then like it's just I don't know. I guess like the cutter and the slider are pretty much the same pitch, but changeup's also really good too. But it's just like man, I love Kyson Witherspoon. And like I talk about like 80 grade human. That's another kid who's just like an 80 grade human. Gonna probably be a potential quick rise through the minors. Just really, really got to be happy, especially with the Red Sox development and on the pitching side. Like that's a
hmm
match made in heaven.
Yeah, and looked even after that, like Marcus Phillips in the
Yeah.
second, or not the second, but like the comp round is a really good get. Um, my favorite pick of day one is Anthony Ianson.
Mm,
So getting him in the 3rd round and reportedly signing him for less than 2 million. I'm not going to give the answer away because it's not my business. But it, Ianson was arguably one of the best SEC arms this year. And I think it went under the radar a lot. Like he had like a
mm,
1.5 ERA from like end of March onward throughout the rest of the year. Um, Admittedly, yeah, the fastball is kind of just generic. We mentioned cut right shape. He does have that, but it's steep.
yeah.
And it just doesn't miss a bunch of bats for a guy that, when you look at the shape, you expect it to miss a ton of bats. So, however, going past that, the breakers are insane. The slider and the curveball are both lethal weapons, and he's got feel for a changeup. I think there's a legitimate path to 4 legit pitches. I think he's got a chance to start long term, even if he doesn't end up being a valuable starter. Just spam Penn out of the bullpen, and you can be a valuable late inning guy for the Red Sox because they value guys that have bad fastballs and get them to spin the ever loving hell out of everything. So for me, that's my favorite pick of day one. Favorite pick of day two, I'm going with a bit of a wild card here. Patrick, oh God, I don't know how to pronounce his
Galley?
last name. Yeah, Patrick Galley from Ole Miss, 17th round. So you want to know why I think he's probably the most underrated pick in Boston's draft class this year?
Why?
He averaged 96.4, spins the ever loving hell out of the fastball, gets good cut ride to it, and he misses bats with it. Over 6.5 feet of extension, so it's already a good fastball mold to kind of go with. He's got a cutter too that averages about 90, and misses a tons of bats as well. And then there's a bigger slider to go with it as well. So he's a very interesting relief profile
Hmm.
that kind of fits in with what Boston looks for. And admittedly, the
Dominating
numbers
in the
aren't.
Cape too this summer.
Yeah, he did a very good job at the Cape. I don't think he ever had enough resources at Ole Miss, and that's not to talk bad about Ole Miss. I just don't think he was utilized enough in his roles
Hmm.
in Oxford to really get to that potential. But seeing what he's been able to do on the Cape, seeing this pitch shapes, seeing what I think could be a difference maker in pro ball, he very well could be a fast rising reliever with nasty, nasty stuff. So I went a bit under the sand to find this one, but
I dig it.
I think Galley is going to have some pretty good stuff moving through in the next couple of years. So I'm interested to see how he develops.
I love it. What's the grade on the Red Sox?
Going to go A again. Like I said, I
Hmm.
just think they really did a good job with nailing all these college guys and getting value where it was. Anthony Ianson in the third round,
Yeah.
very very good. Like if Ianson was taken in the comp round, I kind of questioned the value a little bit, but getting him in the third round, fantastic job by the Red Sox to get that done. Um, and just looking at the rest of the class too, like they've got some interesting guys like Mason White, Kristen Fouch, Miles Patton, Dylan Brown, Jacob Myers probably moves through the minors pretty quickly. Barrett Morgan's kind of that same way. Um, they got our good old friend Cade Fisher. There's a lot to like about this class personally, and I
Yeah.
just think they did a very good job of getting talent where talent was. So
I dig it. Um, Now we're gonna move on to the New York Yankees. Sorry, Peter. I actually forgot to put the Yankees on the AL East list. It's like because I look at their draft class and I'm like, did they have a draft? What did they do this this draft? No, they got some good pieces in there. They have the two guys who were on our stat graphics every single week, Brennan Stubrich and Blake Gillespie. They were on our stat leader graphics every week, so they got that going for them. But break
yes.
down the Yankees in the favorite pick.
First off, as Peter would say, please explain to me how the Yankees did, and please tell me why they had the best draft class in the entire country. Um, I will say I think the Yankees did a good job of getting Dax Kilby. Dax Kilby had
Yeah,
helium in the comp round, and I know they signed him for a bit over slot, but this is a guy that I really personally enjoyed. I think it's legitimate offensive tools from the left side of the plate with adjustable barrel, good swing plane. I think the power's there. He's pretty protectable at 6'2", 190. Might not be a shortstop, but he probably is a third baseman given the size of his frame. And I just think overall, like that's good to get when you're a team that doesn't have a ton of bonus pool
yeah.
and you're picking at 39th. So in an admittedly weaker class, like that's
No
kind of a
second round
detriment.
pick either. So it's
Yeah,
like,
like they did a good job of getting Kilby there. Caden Kent, obviously Jeff Kent's son. He had some helium late as well. I actually do like that pick quite a bit, but looking farther down, Pico Cone's probably a viable reliever at the next level. Um, Rory Fox, I actually like quite a bit. We had him like the 150s.
that your
Richie
favorite day two
Balamolo.
pick?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's either
Yeah.
him or Balamolo. Like both those guys are
Hmm.
very talented. Fox has like a 4 pitch mix, pretty fresh. Like he was a position player not even that long ago. Really focused on pitching this year. He's Luke's brother, if you remember Luke Fox from Duke. So there's bloodlines there. And it's pretty easy up to 96. Good fastball, good slider, good changeup. Like yeah, I really dig the profile overall. And then Bolomelo is just a really twitchy, really athletic center field profile with a bunch of bat speed, and he has pull side prowess. So like those are my overall favorite picks personally of this draft class, outside of Kilby. And even looking farther down, like Stuprich has some value as a grad
Hmm.
guy this year. Jackson Lovich from Missouri actually has some pretty good value as well. Ryan Osimski is a hard thrower for Virginia. Justin West from Louisville is pretty solid as well. And you look at Blake Gillespie, that slider was one of the best in the country this year.
Yeah.
So, overall, like it's nothing flashy, but there's some value to get out of this Yankees class. I would say grade wise, probably like a B minus,
Okay.
uh, at best.
Not
Maybe a
terrible.
like a solid B.
Yeah.
Like, I if there's one pick that kind of confuses me a bit, probably Corey Jackson from Utah. But that's
Mm,
also me saying that as somebody that didn't really dive into his profile a ton, so I was kind of like confused a little bit. However, looking at it, he got 150K, and obviously like the contingency bonus is not going to count 2,500 of that.
hmm
It still knocks off like a solid 275K, almost 300K. So I think there's a game plan here, and it's definitely going to work out in their favor. So I really do like what the Yankees did here. But like I said, just not as flashy as what the Orioles and the Red Sox did, but good for what they had available.
I love it. We're now moving on to the Tampa Bay Rays. Almost wrapping up the AL East here. Who's the favorite pick?
Tate Gray.
Hmm. I
Tate
like it.
Gray. Um, Actually, more than I think. Oh, I'll still go with Gray. Stupidly athletic. He's 6'4", 220, runs pretty well. Had a swing change too, and he hits the absolute piss out of the baseball. So it's between Gray and Fleming for me, and Fleming I think fits the Rays very very well. Left-handed bat, very much a projectable guy, likely six on the infield. You look at what the Rays have been able to do over the past few years, with like Carson Williams. You look at Emilian Petre. They found success with some of these up the middle guys, and Fleming is another guy that kind of fits that. James Quinn Irons is my favorite day two pick. I thought he was a top 100 talent. Get him around
It's
150.
mine too.
Like what? I was amazed by the fact that they were able to pull that off. So shout out to the Rays for doing that. JQI is just immensely tools up. He really is. So I really dig the fact that you get that in the fifth round. Um, and even looking farther down, like you get Brody Donay in the 17th round.
Yeah.
I think his power probably puts him into a position where he could be a decent major league like backup potentially. Um, it's really good value for that guy because I considered him for top 315, and he gets taken in the 17th round after pick 500. Like I do dig that, but like the Rays, what they did in the on day one, in the start of day two, just really really good. So I really dig it overall. I would go like a B plus personally. Um, but again, that's kind of splitting hairs a little bit. Maybe an A minus if I had to
Okay.
be on the safe side. But I think B plus probably fits better for them personally. But again, it's what they did on day one that really sells it for me. This is a very very good draft class in my opinion.
I love it. We're moving on to the Toronto Blue Jays, and the more I look up and down this one, it's like this is a pretty good draft class too. Take us in Toronto. Take us into the favorite pick.
Jojo Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jojo admitted, like I
Not Jake
remember
Cook. What?
Jake Cook swings a 56-degree wedge. Okay, um,
But you've been on him all year. It's got to be the favorite pick.
yeah, I know, but again, like there's we can say there's some question marks on Cook's profile because he's
Yeah.
interesting in a way that like he swings a 56-degree wedge, and what I say by that is it's a super steep approach angle to the ball. So it's very slappy, not a ton of
Mhm.
power, but this is a guy that was also pitching a year ago. Goes to center field and has a 70 arm with good speed and range and can play center field very well. So like he's very solid in his own right. But JoJo Parker in himself, like I've said it before. Do I prefer Billy Carlson? Yes, and it's mainly because of the upside. However, Parker has a left-handed bat with a potential 70 hit tool with above average power at max. Even if he doesn't have a position, that bat's going to play.
Mhm.
So getting him at 8, I think is just perfect for them. I know they had like we got duped a little bit. We thought they were going to go Jamie Arnold, and
Yeah.
I was ecstatic because I think I had Arnold on the mock anyways. It would have done better than 2 picks, but then we got told it was going to be JoJo,
Yeah.
so they kind of threw a curveball at us a little bit. But overall it was good. Danny Thompson Jr. as well, kind of an underrated like fifth year senior with some good fastball metrics. He only got 500 or not even 500K. He got 5K to kind of help them
Oh,
sign a few other
jeez.
guys. So,
Yeah, fifth year senior, that's going to get you 5K.
yeah. So, admittedly, as much as I'm going to make a take that might come back to haunt me with some scouts. I don't hate the 5K minimum rule.
Yeah.
Or no, I hate it. I said I don't hate it. What am I doing? Um, I think we should probably up that a little bit more, and maybe
Yeah.
like 15, 20K, just to get like 5K is not a ton. It really isn't,
Back in
especially in
my
the day of age now. Like,
yeah. When I was at Nevada,
however,
we had a senior. He signed for a plane ticket to Arizona.
that's
That was his bonus. They flew him to Arizona to as an undrafted free agent. That was his signing bonus.
I mean, hey, that's free plane ticket.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just wish there was.
Reno to Phoenix.
Yeah, I just wish there's more we can do for some of these guys too. Like some of the
Yeah.
like again, Danny Thompson, pretty sneaky fastball metrics. Favorite pick overall, Blaine Bullard in the
Mm,
12th round. I understand you got 1.7 mil today, which is I'm pretty sure it's the highest post 10th round in this draft class so far, and probably explains why 5K was handed out to Danny Thompson and Austin Smith. But besides, Blaine Bullard is so toolsed up. He is so twitchy. We had him in the top 100, I'm pretty sure. Um, he's a switch hitting guy, left-handed arm, just really, really talented overall. And I talk about, somebody that he's going to switch at the next level. I think he's a center fielder, very, very toolsy, very speedy. There's some power there to kind of build upon. And getting him in that 12th round, just
pretty good.
kudos to the Blue Jays. That's a really well done uh, overslot guy to take in that range. So
Yeah.
thumbs up from me on that one. That was a very good job by the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy I liked on day two was Jared Spencer. I know the injury that kind of set him back. He's in his senior year. The things that Max Wiener did to those pitch velocity and the fastball velocity and the shape to all his pitches was absolutely insane. Watching him go to toe with Patrick Forbes in that Shriners Classic when we were there was one of the best, most fun outings I've watched. Watching two guys go back and forth. I know he's going to have to recover from the injury still, but I mean, this is a guy that was like 93 to 96, topped out at 98. It's just a really, really fun arm. Could be a reliever at worst in the big leagues. So hopefully he recovers pretty well and recovers soon, and we can kind of see him back on the field. But I really love that sneaky pick there.
Yeah, and if there's a draft grade throughout, another B. Like
Yeah.
I think considering the fact that they didn't have a second rounder because of the Santander signing, but they did a pretty good job in terms of getting value, not only at the top, but like Eric Snow in the 6th round, pretty good. Dylan Watts has some interesting traits to him. And then obviously Spencer and Bullard. You get Trace Baker in the 13th too. You love Trace Baker, by the way.
Yes,
Just
I
gonna put
do.
that out there. So yeah, like overall, I think that's a B. I know they took Ty Peoples in the 20th. Just heads up that probably not signing. He's probably going to go to Georgia. It's insurance for probably Bullard. But now that Bullard's signed, I would imagine Peoples is probably going to campus. So
Yeah. Trace
um,
Baker, bowling ball sinker, by the way, just gets on you, and he gets a lot of ground outs.
yeah,
It was like
with the
mid
way that
90s.
and with the way that Toronto's kind of turned around their pitching dev too. Like you look at you Savage and Cal Steven from a year ago, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing pretty well.
Yeah,
So Baker, I think, is in a pretty good spot there. So
I love it. We're going to move on to my favorite conference, the AL Central. For no reason, my favorite conference at all. So I say conference division. Start with our friend Elijah Evans, Chicago White Sox. What do you got as the favorite pick for the Chicago White Sox?
Jaden Fauske, my
Mm-hmm.
mind's already made up on that. And Elijah,
I love that.
one thing I learned from Elijah was like he actually played with Fauske or against Fauske growing up. So
That's cool.
that was a cool tidbit to learn from
Yeah.
Elijah, and he was able to interview the coach as well while we were down there. So like Elijah, hope you're doing well, buddy. probably going to see any area codes, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked. But Fauski in general, like I raved about him on a podcast the other night. But it's such a beautiful swing from the left side. I understand he's not a catcher anymore, so he's a corner outfielder. So it kind of devalues the profile a little bit. But he's already pretty physical, 6'3", 200, 210. Very solid approach. Is pretty advanced. He doesn't whiff a ton. There's a pretty good amount of walks to draw for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to grow into more power. So Fauski for me, getting him at 44 when we had him as like a top 35, top 30 pick. I think we even mocked him to the Brewers at one point too. Like I think Fauski is a very good get here, especially after getting Billy Carlson at 10.
Yeah.
If you're Chicago at the top of that draft, you've done fantastic. So
There was no one happier than Elijah when he saw Carlson and Fauski back to back. So
yeah, no, that's serious. He was very happy about that.
what about
Um,
favorite day 2 pick?
I'm going to go with the 20th rounder, Andrew Settlinger. I am, because I know you like the Pino.
I only like it because Rams. Go Rams.
Go Rams. Go get that. But like the Pino in his own right, like very powerful, good EVs. He pulls the ball a lot. But Santlinger had a lot of value like halfway through the year, and he blew out against Wake Forest. But it's a very, like, again, you're going to see a theme here. I like very good fastballs and very good fastball quality. Santlinger had that. I think he just threw too many fastballs to lead to him being blown out. But the shape's there. It's good extension. It jumps on you. It's a left-handed guy as well, so there's more value on that side of the mound too. And there's also some breaking ball shapes that kind of work in his favor too. So like get him the sign. I think Sentlinger has some value being that late. Get him back healthy. This could be a guy that, once he gets back healthy, could not like a Grant Taylor type of route, but like he could speed his way through the minors a little bit. I think getting him in the 20th round, especially when you look at some of the other teams in the AL that like took some injured guys very high up. I think Sentlinger should have been among those guys too. So Sentlinger in the 20th round is pretty darn good value for what he is. If you get him a
Yeah.
sign, that's fantastic. So that's why I go with him over like the Pino, Blaine Wink, Colby Shelton. Interestingly enough, pretty good value in the 6th round. Will not lie, but overall, I think the White Sox did a good job at the top, but then it kind of it not faltered, but kind of fell off a little bit after like Gabe Davis, Shelton, the Pino,
Yeah.
Rylan Galvin, the 13th's good value. It's a bunch of power, but I just don't know if he can hit. Caden Parker spends the living hell out of the baseball. Derek Serta is a very good center fielder from Kansas. I know obviously Sentlinger, so like there's some guys of value there, but I would go with like a B minus on this kind of draft class. But again, like if this was just like going off the day 1 picks, probably an A plus. Like
Yeah.
Carl Kowski and Lodis is a very good day 1 selection group.
I give him an A plus for one reason. This right here, Tyler. This is the only reason.
The Rams, yep.
Moving on to the Cleveland Guardians. This was your favorite team. We've kind of talked about them at length already, but who is the favorite pick from the Guardians?
Ooh, Guardians is an interesting one.
So good. There's like so many favorite picks for me.
I'm going to go Aaron Walton. Aaron Walton is. We talked about him having helium before the show, and the Guardians actually had 2 competitive balance B picks. So they got Will Hines as well from Canada, but like Aaron Walton, as much as he doesn't have the speed to stick in center field, he has great routes, has good range. Like it's a guy that knows how to play to position without having the strengths of it, if that makes any sense.
And he was
Like,
electric all postseason
yes,
out
he
there.
was. He really was. So I think Walton, in and of his own right, is very valuable. And I think if you get him to lift the ball a bit more, he is going to mash at the next level. It's pretty good power, pretty good EVs. And the hit tool is not too shabby either. So, like, Walton in the 2nd round, is it a bit rich for what we had him? We had him like in the 130s, 140s, but to see how it's kind of played out into their strategy, I really don't hate it. I think he's one of my favorite picks on day one. Now, overall, we had mentioned this before. Will McCausland, my favorite day two pick. It's just such an invisible fastball. We saw him at Shriners. He struck out 8 in 3 innings. And I look back at that outing. He doesn't throw hard. He tops out like 92, 93. But there is so much induced vertical carry on that fastball that guys just cannot square him up. And he's got a cutter, a good breaking ball. Um, I mentioned before, could there be a guy that's like Kate Smith in this class? It might be McCausland. So, like overall, this is one of my favorite draft classes in the entire league. I think they got immense value with Jace Laviolette at 27. And Dean
Mm-hmm.
Curley in the second round is pretty darn good as well. Luke Hill, Riley Nelson, Nelson Keljo, Anthony Martinez. There's just a lot of stuff to like here.
Yeah.
Um,
I also
but for
low key love Aaron Savory too
yeah,
out of
yeah,
Iowa.
I like Savari too. So for me, this is like a plus. I think Cleveland did a fantastic job once again of finding value in places where you probably don't find these guys. And I just really do love this class overall.
I love it. Moving on to the Detroit Tigers. Kind of an interesting class, a fun class. But who is the favorite pick out of Detroit?
Michael Oliveto,
Mm, hmm
like
hmm
and this isn't me saying that because I broke the source on that one. But Oliveto he's such a good human being, and shout out Brian Recca for getting Oliveto on the national scene. I'm dead serious when I say that. Recca was the main reason why I got in on Oliveto. And I would imagine everybody on the public space was aware of Oliveto because of Recca.
yeah.
So Recca deserves a shout out on that one. I think he did a pretty good job of getting that out there. But overall, like Oliveto in of itself is very projectable, left-handed bat, hit and power, probably not a catcher, but could be an outfielder. And I understand like Pipeline had him in the 200s. I think we pushed him up into the 50s.
Yeah.
So I
We
think
mocked
this
him in the
is,
first round, too.
yeah, we did. So like Oliveto is a very solid get for the Tigers in this range. And genuinely, I think us ranking him, I think we ended up at like 64. I think we are underselling him. I really do. So I really love that, especially when you get Jordan Yost slightly underslot in the first round.
Yeah.
When all the shortstops were coming off the board. Favorite day two pick? If I had to put a name out there, River Hamilton probably, if you get that
Mm,
done. It was very weird because he didn't have the greatest summer, had a weird spring, but it's very good fastball value. I think Hamilton can be developed properly and developed well. So overall, it's like I think he did a very good job getting him in the 11th round. If you sign him away from LSU, perfect. So overall, like again, this is another like probably a B minus. There's some interesting picks in here where like Malachi Witherspoon I wasn't expecting him to be there in the second round. Ben Jacobs, I probably would have taken over Malachi personally, but probably not in the
hmm
second round. It's interesting there. Caleb Blaze is good in the fourth round. Ryan Hall was a guy that um, really had some helium to start the year, and then kind of faltered a bit. But you saw the stuff at the beginning of the year, and it looked good. So, like overall, it's a good class. Probably like B minus C plus. But again, that Oliveto pick, man, I just cannot stop myself from loving that as much as I can. I think Detroit got a very valuable bat and also a nitty gritty human being. I really do. Like he's just a fantastic kid to talk to, from what I've heard. Everybody loved him going into the draft. So like, hey, you take that and you run with it. You really do. It's fantastic.
I love it. Moving on to the best team in baseball, and that's not biased at all. The Kansas City Royals. What do you got on favorite pick for the Royals? Mine's Josh Hammond, but I'll let you go first.
Michael Lombardi, second round.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Low key
Um,
love this pick.
yeah, getting him in the second round, he had compound helium as well.
Yeah.
But like my thing with Lombardi is I think he ends up being a starter because he's got a ditch. He hasn't ditched being a two-way guy. And that's the biggest thing. Like he's super athletic. Take the bat out of his hands full time and let him focus on pitching like fully. He has a chance to be a monster. Um, and that's the best way to put it. Like it's a ton of backspin on the fastball, gets a lot of carry on it. Very good downer curveball. He has feel for a changeup. I think you can definitely. It's a good mold of clay to kind of work with. And he was a college reliever. Probably turns into a starter. It's just really hard not to like that kind of profile. And if there's any favorite day two pick, Tyson Moran.
Mm-hmm.
Moran was one of the guys that you watch the Canadian team, and like the Canadians had a pretty solid draft in general. Like uh, there's a lot of
Good
talent.
guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent north of the border, man. There really is.
Yeah.
But Tyson Moran, very adjustable left-handed swing. He's a middle infielder, probably a second baseman. Um, but getting him in the 13th when we ranked him in like the 105, 110 range, yeah, sign me up on that one. That was a very good pick from the Royals. And like Sean Gamble, Josh Hammond at the top, Cameron Millar is a unique guy. He's got a very good changeup and has been up to 97. So yeah, like there's a lot to like there. And overall, I think KC did a very, very good job. This is a easy A grade for me personally. There's just a lot of value spread out in this draft class, and even at the top, like they did a very good job with the first two picks that they had, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. And even after that, like Lombardi in the second, Millar in the third. I think Justin Lampkin was in there as well.
Yeah, he
Lampkin's a
was the
pretty solid
CB.
like he's like a Drew Bean kind of guy to have in that situation, like almost same
Everybody
range as a year
compares him to
ago.
Chris Bubich because lefty with a low 90s fastball that doesn't have great shape but gets a ton of swing and miss and has a really good slider. Like that's Chris Bubich. And so everybody keeps comparing him to Chris Bubich.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far, but I definitely see the similarities. I really do.
Yeah. The guy I actually kind of low key like Max Martin in the 10th. Talk about like bowling ball sinker. Basically touches 97, gets a ton of ground outs. He has a pretty good slider as well. I think he could be a fast moving reliever in the system. And that I've noticed that's kind of a thing the Royals have done in the last two drafts under Brian Bridges is they've gotten these guys with really, really good metrics on an off-speed pitch, like a slider or a curveball, or really, really good fastball metrics. Guys that they maybe won't stick as a starter, but have like either flash either really 2+ good pitches and kind of struggle with walk rates that could kind of um, basically benefit from like the raid the zone mentality that they've kind of put in their pitching development. So I kind of you just see them taking more of these guys who could be quick rise relievers, and they're like, hey, if we get some money savers and like two of these guys pan out, like we're golden here. Like that's kind of what they're doing. And then they kind of peg a couple of prep guys like they did Kyle DeGroat last year late, and they did Tyson Moran late this year. So it's just like they kind of keep doing that thing where they're just like, we'll do a run of like college relievers who we really like the fastball metrics or the slider metrics and hope that they can kind of pan out.
Yeah, 100%. So you hit the nail on the head on that one, buddy. And kudos to Brian Bridges for putting together a good class, man. I
Yeah.
think I think Bridgie's going to do a good job turning the development around with these guys too. So like, very excited to see what happens over the next few years with this draft class.
Yep. Last team in the Central. We are going to the Minnesota Twins. Our friend JD Cameron broke this down on our last podcast when we were doing the day one recap and the day two live stream. But man, this is a fun class too. I low key like it. What do you got on the Twins? Who's the favorite pick?
Favorite pick overall, probably Matt Barr.
Mm,
Um,
that's not the
Matt
way I
Barr
thought he was
has,
going to go, and I love it.
yeah, like the Twins got good value out of Barr. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
like we had him in like the 115, 120 range, I think, and there are teams that definitely valued him higher than that. Admittedly, um, I think the Twins walked away with a pretty good crop of arms too, like Riley Quick,
Yeah.
Elwinger, Jason Ritz, Matt Barr. Looking farther down, Justin Mitrovic in the ninth round is pretty good get.
Callan Fang.
Um, Callan Fang, I wish that he was healthy when I saw him this year,
Yeah.
but that's besides the point. Like, I think Matt Barr in that range, getting him away from Tennessee is a very good get for the Twins, and it kind of fits their MO a little bit. Very projectable, right-handed guy from SUNY Niagara, who conveniently, I think my parents went to Finger Lakes Community College up in New
Hmm.
York, so conveniently like in that area. So like overall, like Matt Barr is going to be, he's a spin freak. Um, Lots of extension, good fastball, up to 98. Like it's a prototypical projectable right-handed pitcher with loud stuff. So Matt Barr in the fifth round is pretty good. I think he's both my favorite pick overall and favorite day two pick as well. So, but looking through the rest of it, like Merrick Houston at 16, like you can talk about the power all you want, but he's a well-rounded player. Riley Quinton Young's a weird fit for me personally, but I don't hate the value whatsoever. He's a guy that
Hmm.
probably has comp round helium. Um, and we had mocked him to the Dodgers, so like I don't hate it. There's bloodlines there. And he hits for power. Like it's toolsy. I dig it. Jason Reitz is Stilts from the Savannah Bananas. Bruin
So it's
Agbayani,
11.
yeah. Bruin Agbayani, another bloodline guy.
Hmm.
Benny was his dad. Jacob McCombs is a good get in the seventh round. He's another really good like value guy in that range. So overall, like I get the Twins an A on this one personally. Like this is a pretty solid draft class overall, and there's not really a bunch that I can really hate on it, to be honest.
I love it. And you gave it what, an A? You said grade? A grade. Nice.
Yeah, for what it's worth, we're probably not going to get a bunch of like C's or D's or anything. Like I think
You gotta
even going
really,
with
really screw up to get a D.
yeah, like C plus for the White Sox is probably a bit harsh, admittedly. Like I
Yeah.
don't think they did a terrible job, but like I said, it kind of like fell off a little bit after the first like six or seven picks for them, and there wasn't a ton of guys that like moved me in a way with them. But like getting what they got at the top, I like it's still not enough for me to be like, oh hey, you guys did a terrible job, you get a D. Like I still think that there's value in what they did. So like hey, cheers to that.
I love it. Now we are finally moving into the last division. We have the AL West. Let's start with the nameless athletics. Let's go there.
I'm going to keep calling them the nameless athletics now that you keep bringing it up.
Cityless. Sorry, I guess they're not nameless because they have a name. So
If it means I don't have to keep saying Oakland Athletics, then I think I'm fine with that. Because I'm going to keep saying it until they are. It's just drilled in my head that they're no longer in Oakland.
yeah.
um, but like overall, like the A's did a pretty good job of getting some value guys. I know last year, looking at what they got with Tommy White and Gage Jump, I was kind of perplexed on that a little bit. Looking back on it, I'm a idiot for ever thinking that because they both did pretty well in the futures game.
They've
Jamie
raking.
Art, like
Tommy White's raking this year, and Gage Jump is shoving this year. So
yes. Gage Jump even went back to his old like stabby arm action, which is helping with his command, which is fantastic. Um, which is weird because stabby arm actions you wouldn't expect to really have command gains on it
yeah.
because stabby is usually not the a good thing. But you look at guys like Justin Verlander, very stabby arm action.
Hmm.
He has over 3,000 strikeouts in his career. That's an extreme case, but Gage Jump is definitely in a better spot with his command than he was with the shorter arm swing, that little like weird you get to here and then you're up kind of deal. So, um, anyways, besides that, you get Jamie Arnold at 11 when he was definitely a projected top 10 pick. You can fix the fastball command as much as you want. I think overall that's my favorite day one pick.
Hmm.
Um, just really do think that Jamie Arnold and with the A's too, like they're kind of a sneaky good development team on the pitching side now. Like
Yeah.
Gunnar Hoagland before he had the injury had turned into a guy that now has viability as the major league starter. When a couple years ago it didn't really look like that was the case. Um,
Mason Miller.
yeah, like they've done a pretty good job. But like looking at the rest of it, you get the two Taylors and Devin and Zane, Gavin Turley, Grant Richardson's my favorite day two pick personally. Like
I love that.
didn't throw this past year because he had TJ in, I think it was last June or July. He was supposed to be at like USA Collegiate trials, never went because he got hurt. But like he transformed himself from a guy that was like, your generic cut ride fastball with like a meh sweeper to now, hey, I touched 97 and I have a like firm bullet slider in the upper 80s that nobody touches.
Yeah.
He was committed to Ole Miss. Probably not going to go there anymore. But Richardson's pretty good, left-handed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's definitely one of my favorite picks on day two in general. Um, which makes me mad that I didn't include him on the top 315. But like, hey, you're gonna have your losses every once in a while, so like, can't beat
Can't get
yourself
them
too much
all.
on it. Yeah. Um, Logan Sauve in the seventh is pretty good value.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Bozer, right? That's right about where I had him, anyways, because it's just a bunch of power. Senior sign. Overall, like I do think the A's did a good job. I think it's like an A minus personally. Uh, Zane Taylor in the fifth round is just I feel like that's the guy that's going to rise through the ranks pretty quickly. Same for Richardson. I like the A's just did a very good job of getting value.
Mm-hmm.
As much as it isn't, it's not flashy, it's not in your face, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
And like this is the kind of draft class that you look back on in a few years when the A's are like actually, contending. Knock on wood, we get to that point. But this is definitely a class where you look back and you see some contributors to that team in the future. You look at this draft class and you go, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's where my logic is on that one.
I dig it.
Um, so yeah,
I feel like for the last few years I've given the A's so much flack for drafting, and now they've just been making me look stupid year after year. So I'm just going to be done doing that. So I'm like, oh, Jacob Wilson, why would you take him? And now he's like hitting 400. Fine. Okay. Got it. I'm wrong. I'm going to wear that one. Uh, Moving on to the Houston Astros. Looking at this class, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a weird class. Break down Houston. Who's the favorite pick?
Yeah, you're not wrong by saying it's a kind of a weird class. Um, I will say, can I get like half a point for Nyans on the mock draft, please and thank you? Uh,
How many did you get right? Just Nyans? No.
no, I got two right, but I had Tate
No.
Saltacine there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I think I had mentioned in the write up, it's like it's either Nyans or Saltacine, and I'm going Saltacine. And
Half
here
point.
I am. Nyans is 21, Saltacine 22. I had the right idea. So, like, if I can get half a point, that'd be fantastic. Makes me feel better. I can go to sleep at night knowing that I wasn't a failure on the mock draft.
If we just went with what we were hearing about Gamble and Hammond, we would have been right. We should have.
You're not wrong. But like overall, Nyans probably I expect him to be like a full slot guy, but
Yeah.
getting Nyans at 21, it left-handed bat. It's the first time they've taken a high school prep like high school bat in the first round since Kyle Tucker,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know how good Kyle Tucker is. I'm
He's
not
okay.
saying Nyans can be that, but Nyans has a boatload of power. I think the Astros do a good job with developing. Ethan Fry, probably a bit too rich for my money there at 95, but like he's going to be playing in the outfield by the looks of it. I'd like the gamble there. Nick Monster had a great year. Nick Potter was a good reliever up to 100. Gable Pentecost, that I don't think anybody's going to know this name because he was an NAIA guy. Looked at the metrics. He has one hell of a fastball. Gets
Hmm.
like 70 of extension, good carry, good shape, flat, has good velo. People need to know about that arm because the Astros are going to turn him into a demon. I really do think so. Um, but I think my favorite pick overall for them, and it counts as my day two pick, Jace Mitchell in the seventh round.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy that's going to get probably the biggest overslot deal personally in this draft class. And he was a late guy. He was a late addition to our board. Like I kind of snuck him in a little bit because there was rumors that like is a guy that can hit for average and power from the left side, pretty easy bat speed and hand speed, can stick behind the plate. And here we are. He's now more than likely not going to go to Kentucky anymore,
Yeah.
unfortunately for Coach Mingione. But Jace Mitchell kind of fits the Astros MO pretty well. So he's my favorite pick overall. Um, there are some things I wish the Astros did a bit more of in this draft class, admittedly. But looking at kind of like those two guys, Mayans and Mitchell in particular, um, I would say like a C plus probably. Um, it's a decently old class
Yeah.
with some talent, more of like college performers more than anything. Especially when you look at Nick Monaster, I just don't know how much more you can get out of that profile personally. Nick Potter is very fastball heavy. Mentioned Pentecost being a guy that could be very good. Kyle Walker's like an interesting utility guy. Justin Thomas in the 11th is actually pretty good value for
I like
him.
that pick. That was the one I
That
was going to mention that I liked.
Yeah, that's a good pick overall. But then after that, kind of just like not a ton of guys that draw you in.
Hey,
Admittedly,
my third favorite UNC Wilmington arm and Aubrey Smith. So there's that.
that is also true. But like overall, this is like I like to think C is like an average class. This is kind of like an average class for me. Nothing against Houston for what it's worth. But I definitely wish there's a bit more in the tank there, personally. But again, like the Jace Mitchell pick, like Nyans, and again, Pentecost is going to be a guy to watch in the system as well. So definitely very intriguing, very interesting, but just doesn't have the high end top talent of some of these other classes, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
We're now moving on to the Angels, and I actually low key like this class. So, what's the favorite pick out of this class? I think I know who your day two favorite's going to be, just based on your article. But give me day one, or I guess favorite pick overall.
Um, as much as this is going to probably not surprise people, but favorite overall, like Jolly Slowinski in the third round's
Hmm.
pretty good. Just a really projectable lefty with good stuff. I saw him last year up to 92, 93 at 18U trials. Really good hammer breaking ball. Very projectable. I think he's a guy that's going to do very good in the system. As much as the Angels don't really like develop a ton. You look at
Yeah.
Tyler Bremner. I remember when people were saying he's going to get like 9.5, and he ended up getting like 75% exact on the number of the value,
Hmm.
which I really don't hate. I really don't. Tyler Bremner too. If you get at that value,
It's
I,
pretty
I
good.
think Bremner is pretty darn good. He just needs to fix the slider a little bit because it really wasn't the bridge picks we were expecting it to be this year. So guys were obviously sitting on the fastball and spitting on the changeup, but like the fastball actually improved a little bit as the year went along. So like I don't hate that. Shea Shores is going to be in the big leagues in like 2 months. Uh, but like I'll change course on my favorite day two pick. I'm gonna go Luke LaCourse, six round pick out of Bay City Western High School in Michigan.
Yeah.
Spins the ever loving fuck out of the baseball. Sorry for the language, but he does.
Yeah.
Um, like raw spin rates are above 34, 3,500 RPMs. Like that event of itself is just such a separator from the rest of the peers, the peer group that he's part of. Like it's really insane. Already been up to 95, 96. I think LaCourse is very much valuable at the sixth round, and I had him higher than that, I think. CJ
Hmm.
Gray, I do like too, and I know that's probably the guy you were thinking about as
Yeah.
well. Um, CJ is definitely more of just a fastball guy, but his pitch shapes have improved a little bit from what I've heard. And also, Talon Haley and Xavier Mitchell, I've heard both were actually signed now,
Oh wow.
which is impressive. Talon Haley was a top 100 guy. Get him in the 12th. That's insane value.
13th one,
Um,
like a top 150 type too, almost.
Xavier Mitchell is in my top 100.
Is he?
He was higher than Talon Haley, I do believe. Um,
It's pretty good.
I loved Xavier Mitchell. He's just so wiry. There's a lot of projection there. The hammer breaking ball is there. He's already been up to 93, 94. Like it's just a guy that I expected to be taken high and valued very high because he's a left-handed guy with projection. You don't quit on those.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, honestly, like the Angels surprised me a little bit with their draft class overall.
And they gave Alton Davis almost 400K too. Like
Yes, they
they
did.
paid him.
It's interesting how they allocated the money.
Yeah.
But they're getting guys to sign,
Yeah.
and like uh, I think it's gonna be TJ Ford and Mikey Casino that are like you kind of see what happens with them, but like hi dog, that's very valuable, I think. So like I give the Angels like a B plus. Maybe you could push it to A minus depending on how this kind of like projects outward, but like I think they did a pretty good job.
Sorry, my dogs are still barking, so I don't know why. It's like 9. It's 10:48 at night, so that's fine.
I heard the oh.
Yeah, Shiva will hear something while she's sleeping, and then we'll go crazy. There's nothing out there. I'm looking out we have a front door camera. I'm looking at it now.
We're leaving this in, by the way.
Yeah, I know. There's literally nothing out there. Anyways, back to it. We are. What did you give the Angels? Sorry, I got distracted by barking dogs. What was the grade?
B plus. You can push me to an A minus depending on how
Okay,
everything projects out.
got it. Nice, nice, nice. We're moving on to the Seattle Mariners. Now, you talked about this one as being your best draft class. Give us a little bit of breakdown on the favorite pick, and then day two favorite.
I'm probably gonna go a little off the wall here by saying this, but Lucas Kelly is like my favorite overall pick for day two pick. So I could be that person and go Kate Anderson. I could be Nikki Becker, like I already talked about him being a potential Gunnar Henderson situation. Um, but man, Lucas Kelly up to 99, that like sidearm delivery with such a flat approach angle to the plate. He's going to be in the big leagues sooner than we know it. And I mentioned Paul Sewald as a comp on that one. And I am sticking with that one. Like, it's just so on the nose that I think Kelly is essentially Paul Sewald 2.0, and has a decent breaker to go with it. Has some feel for a changeup, but I think it's really just going to be a lot of fastballs that are going to be blown by guys. So um, he's my favorite fit in this draft class. He's my favorite second day pick. He's just my favorite pick in general of this draft class. To be different than like the consensus. So I just think the Mariners did such a great job with getting these guys that fit their narratives, fit their MOs, and it's just done a very good job in terms of finding guys that they know they can develop pretty well. And I think that's very valuable in this day of age. Like, I could see a plethora of guys in this class be valuable major leaguers at the next
Yeah.
level. And that's not even to mention, like, Grant Jay was a 12th rounder. Luke Heyman was a 14th rounder and got 230K today. Griffin Steig in the 18th round, he didn't throw this year, but like that's an interesting profile. You get him
Mm-hmm.
to sign, I think that's very valuable. Now, Cameron Appenzeller probably doesn't sign,
I was gonna say
but
let's let the people know.
like just want to put that out there. 19th round, that's an insurance pick in case one of the guys doesn't sign.
Yeah, like
But
Nikki Becker doesn't sign or something, and you're like,
yeah, I
okay, we
think that's
can.
what it is. It's like a Nicky Becker insurance pick. But Appenzeller is going to be a very fine arm in Tennessee's bullpen probably this year if he doesn't start, and then turns into a starter and just shoves. I am very high on that kid overall. So it's an A plus for this Mariners class for me.
I love
Like
it.
it, they just did a very good job.
And we are gonna wrap up with the Texas Rangers. I low key kind of like this draft too. Not gonna lie. More at the top than the bottom, but what do you got? What's the favorite pick for the Rangers?
I I was talking to somebody from the Rangers, and if they listen to this, they know who they are. But I like what the Rangers did with keeping consistent on, especially the pitching side, getting guys that kind of fit their MO a little bit, which is they targeted injured guys or have injury histories that have nasty stuff. AJ Russell with the flat approach angle, kind of funky, very funky actually. I'm not even gonna
Mm-hmm.
say kinda. I'm gonna say very. Um, Mason McConaughey had a very nasty slider before he blew out. Ben Abelt didn't pitch this year, but very funky, very Chris Sale like. Evan Ciari has a really good changeup. Owen Proch is very unique and interesting. Jacob Johnson from Pearl River is going to be throwing a lot harder with like same kind of like Lucas Kelly arm slot a little bit with arm speed. So like there's some interesting guys in this draft class, and like Julius Sanchez, also another guy that blew out, but also had one of the best sinkers in college baseball when he was
Mm.
healthy this year. So like I overall this is a pretty sneaky good class. I think my favorite pick overall would probably be, and I'm going to use this in my day two pick as well, because I'm going to put in the superlatives piece that I think this is interesting. Jack Wheeler, not a ton of run on the public space. This is a guy I didn't really know much about when his name was taken. But the way I've been told is like this is a very projectable athlete, like 6'5", 205. he's had a swing change. There's power. He's a good athlete, like I had mentioned before. There's just he's a very intriguing guy now looking into it, and I think the Rangers did a good job getting him where he was, even if he wasn't on our board or kind of anybody's board. To be honest with you, they did a very good job of hiding him, and I wouldn't be shocked if Jack Wheeler is a name to kind of like be well known in the future here. So he's my favorite overall pick. And favorite day two pick, but again, like I think the Rangers just did a very good job overall. I would go like an A minus, B plus on this draft class. Just with the kind of uniqueness and guys, they stayed very consistent on the pitching side, especially, um, and just targeted guys that they know they can go after, use their traits to kind of develop them, and also get the most out of them. So I think the Rangers did a very good job overall.
I love it. Well, we got through the first 15 teams. We're going to do a National League episode here in the next few days, depending on 18U trials and my schedule. We'll get that out. But Tyler, what are any final thoughts on the American League draft, on just our content in general? What do you got?
Just in general, like this draft in general was just very unique. And like looking back at it, I understand I've mentioned before the mock only got 2 picks right, but at the end of the day, do I care? No. My opinion is the big board did very well. 76% of the guys on the big board, 315, were drafted in some capacity. So I'm more concerned about how that performed in the mock overall, which is good.
The board was
Um,
great. It was
thanks.
insane to follow because like we were talking to so Peter when I was on the live stream with Just Baseball, RM Peter and I were like, Peter was like, "Who's best available?" And we are like, "There's not like any like random guy that's just best of it." Like Mason Neville was the only guy basically just hanging out there on the entire like top 30, which is kind of wild to think about.
Yeah, it was, and like they even saw me working on the boards. Like I stayed up for like 5 6 hours on oh god, it was Friday. Yeah, Friday
Yeah,
night and Saturday, where I was just really just hammering it out, trying to get it done because I was just like, I'm tired, I want to go to bed.
yeah,
Um, but like first off, overall, shout out to Aaron, Peter, Jack, Elijah, Peyton, Colby, all the guys that were in the house this past week, Ellie as well. First off, her paintings for the auction that we did, fantastic.
yeah,
Going for a good cause as well. So I got to give her a shout out. She did a very good job. Um, but just overall, like everybody in that house was very nice, very fantastic. Really had a blast with those guys. So again, if you're not following them, please do. Like if you're listening to us and you haven't followed those guys, I don't know what you're doing. um, because they are all very good individuals in their own rights. They deserve to have the recognition for it. So I'm going to give it to them. They were fantastic to be with this past weekend, and I'm really excited for what Just Baseball has in general for us. So wanted to put that out there. But like in general, like for us, the 2026 boards are going to be coming out pretty soon. We're going to do college top 50 first, and then prep top 50 after I do area codes. Um, so you know, there's going to be some guys that are going to surprise some people a little bit. That I've got some hot takes on. A little
I
excited
love
for
it.
that. And in general, like we know what we got to hash out for the 2026 cycle. So me, Jared, Jay, Connor, Peyton, JD, all these guys, thank you for doing such a great job on the 2025 cycle.
Small
That's
but
a
mighty
huge,
team.
small but mighty is correct. Um, so like everybody deserves a pat on the back for how they did this cycle. Um, so I've got to put that out there. So like I would be doing it this just an injustice to not only myself but to everybody else that's part of the team that makes this possible to not to get their just dues. Like I just feel like I wouldn't be doing my job as the leader, I guess. um, but yeah, like overall, like very happy with the 2025 cycle. Excited for 2026. Make sure you follow everybody. Please do. Otherwise, I will be in the corner of your room staring you down at night like your sleep paralysis demon.
That's a little creepy.
I could have
On
said
that
so
note,
much worse. I could have said so much worse.
on that note, we're wrapping up this podcast real quick. Uh, no, I gotta just to reiterate kind of what you said. Just it's been awesome to work with this team at Just Baseball, from the people at the top, Aram, Peter, Elijah, everybody, and then just the entire team of draft writers and college writers we've had all season to really help make this product what it is. Like, couldn't do it without those guys, and we couldn't do it without you all tuning in. The fact that we had like 1,500, 2,000 people on a day 2 live stream of the MLB draft is just really, really cool. I think Just Baseball had over 10, 15,000 for the day 1 live stream. It was just awesome to see all the content everybody was able to pull together this year on the MLB draft. And we got more coming for 2026. We got interviews lined up. We got more draft recaps. As I mentioned, we got the NL episode that we're going to get out soon. We're going to have a very special guest on, I think, in the next few days to do a little draft recap. That'll be a fun episode that I think you all enjoy. Got a lot of college content coming for the offseason as soon as the fall starts to get kicked back up. Will's got some cool projects going on. But yeah, I mean, we're ready. We don't sleep because why not? But sleep's not fun. Why not do
Sleeps
baseball
for the
content?
weak.
I don't know. Seems like a fun idea.
Yeah, I mean, sleep is for the weak.
Yeah.
I am the weak. Please send me coffee because I really do need to survive at this point.
But yeah, again, thank you all for following along. Again, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube, on your favorite podcast channels to helps us out, keep supporting. And we can't thank you enough for all the support you've given us all year long. And until next time, we'll see you.